What up? It's Matt, Taco Potato Mustang. As you can see, I'm back in the Fox Mustang for the first time in like almost a freaking month. I just picked the car up from the transmission gear shop like, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes ago. If you recall, I took the car to get some new rear end gears installed, a 410 ring and pinion that were a gift from a couple of friends of mine. And you know, I dropped the car off with the gears and like the hardware and like a new differential cover and stuff. And then I picked it up with the new gears, but also some other changes and new parts that I was not originally planning on. I mean, that's probably nothing new for anybody who's owned one of these cars or has ever really had I guess a project car. But before I get into too much of the other details, I just gotta say, driving the car with the 410s is interesting. You know, somebody on one of my threads on the forum said that it seemed like sort of a semi-joking comment that, well, at least you won't have to downshift as much or something like that. And I wasn't thinking about it. I mean, I read the comment, like I took note of it, but I've been, you know, driving for like 30 minutes, and a couple times when I've been in like fourth or fifth gear, I've just put my foot on the gas and I was able to get to where I needed to go pretty easily. And it's kind of a nice feeling. I mean, you know, of course downshifting is fun, but it's also kind of cool to have the power and torque to, you know, pass or, you know, get up to whatever speed you need to get up to pretty quickly without having to downshift. It was kind of unexpected, but I can't complain so far. I'm just taking it easy. I don't know if there's like a break-in period required for new rear end gears, but I'm just trying not to go too crazy. The drive home from the shop. Obviously, I don't want to create any problems, but needless to say, I'm pretty excited to have the Fox Mustang back. And when I get back to the garage, we'll talk about a few more of the changes that were made while the car was in the shop. Back in the garage, as you can see, the Fox Mustang is back in the garage. So what happened is I picked the car up last week. It had been in the transmission shop for almost a month, and finally got it back. When I drove it home from the shop, it mostly felt fine. The driving, the only major differences I noticed were the clutch felt a little bit lighter, and there was a little bit of what it seemed like there was a little bit of smoke, like oil burning coming from underneath the car. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So basically, if you remember, I can't remember the last time I did a Fox video. If you remember, I had a set of 410 gears, rear end gears, that I had installed in a transmission shop. And so I I brought the gears, the installation hardware, and a new differential cover and the speedometer gear set to the shop to have them install it. The snowstorm from a few weeks ago caused some delays. So at one point they called me and they said, the gears are done, but one of the rear axles is looking pretty worn down. Do you want us to replace them? And I said, sure. So they went ahead and replaced them with 31 spline rear axles. I guess that was what was already in the car previously. Like someone had done them. One of the previous owners had those installed or installed them, and then so they did. So that took a few more days to get the axles ordered, and then to get them installed. And then when they went to do the speedometer gear, which helps to calibrate the speedometer, I guess you have to drop the transmission to install one of those parts. And so they said, hey, do you want us to? We have to drop the transmission to install the speedo gear. Do you want us to do that? And I said, yeah. And then I asked while they had the transmission out, I said, can you go ahead and replace the rear main seal? Because I assumed that one of the causes of oil leaking from the car previously was the rear main seal. I mean, I didn't have any evidence for that other than that there was oil leaking from a spot that looks like it could be coming from the rear main seal. And I figured, they have the transmission out, they might as well do it. So then they did that. And then they called me and said, hey, do you want to replace the clutch? Of course. They said they could put the clutch that was in it back in, but it had seen some wear and tear and had been in there for a while. So they just asked, do you want to put in a new clutch? I said, okay, sure, might as well. So they replaced the clutch, just an OEM style, nothing not like a race clutch or anything super fancy. I guess the flywheel was fine. So I dropped the car off to get gears installed, picked the car up with new gears, new axles, new clutch. And also the clutch cable broke while they were, at some point during the process. So they replaced the clutch cable. I kind of feel like an idiot about that because I have a brand new Steeda clutch cable, and I forgot to bring it with me when I took the car to the shop. But I didn't want to delay the process anymore, and the shop's pretty far away. So, and then, new clutch, new rear main seal. So I picked the car up, drove it back. Things were fine for the most part. When I got back to the house, I noticed that there was some smoke coming from from underneath the car. So I looked, and it seemed like, I can show a little clip of it. It seemed like it was oil that was leaking onto the X pipe, which has happened with the car before. And it was burning and creating smoke. And then, so that was the first thing I was a little concerned about, getting the car back. I don't know, it could be my imagination, but it seems like it's leaking more oil. I have to play around with it a little bit more and do some scientific method. And then so when I checked the oil after getting back to the house, it was almost empty. So I was trying not to assume the worst. I mean, hopefully it wasn't the case that the shop just didn't put any oil back in after replacing the rear main seal, but there was almost no oil in the car. It could also have been that I drove the car back from the shop and it was leaking. If it was leaking more than it was previously, then that would make sense. So then I looked underneath the car another time. I started the car just to run it and then check the oil a couple days ago. And I saw that there is what looks like an exhaust leak right where the X pipe meets the catback. not excited about that. I'm not sure if it's been pretty cold lately, so I haven't had a lot of time to be rolling around the floor in the garage, but I'm hoping that it's, just that the hardware is loose or something. I'm not sure if there's something broken or what the deal is, but basically what I need to do is try and get the car up on jack stands, try to see what's going on with the X pipe, try to see if I can identify where the oil is leaking from. Some of the guys on the forums gave me a few suggestions on places that I could look, things that I could clean up to get a better sense of where the oil might be coming from. So yeah, not too excited about having the car gone for a month and then having it back and then having to try and figure out what else is going on. But I mean, it's an old car, and every time I do a search for something related to one of the issues that I'm dealing with, there's an endless list of other people with Fox Mustangs or similar year cars that are dealing with leaks or things not sealing correctly or whatever. So not super excited about some of the issues I'm still trying to sort out, but I am happy to have the car back, and I would like to try and get some of this stuff done so that I can drive it more and get the new gears broken in and try to enjoy the driving experience. So, but yeah. I would add a little driving portion to this video, but I'd really just like to get the exhaust leak sorted out first, and then try to see how much oil is leaking. I mean, I do know that after I figured out that there wasn't really any oil, there was hardly any oil in the car, I put in a few quarts and then I checked the oil a couple times. And it's just been sitting. I haven't driven it. I've turned it on a couple times, but I haven't driven it since then. But I was thinking that if I can get the exhaust leak fixed, that maybe I'll just drive it around the neighborhood, see how it feels, see if driving it is causing the oil to leak more or what the deal is. Try to check the oil before and after, and just keep an eye on it. And then hopefully at some point I'll get some time to get underneath the car and poke around a little bit. So I wish I had a more exciting update, but that's just the way it goes sometimes with these cars. And I'd be lying if I said I haven't been tempted to just look for crazy engine swap options or do something where I just pull the engine out and then try to redo everything so that I have no leaks. But that seems a little extreme and also currently beyond my mechanical capabilities. So anyways, thanks for watching my video. Keep an eye out for more on the Fox Mustang and other Taco Potato Mustang stuff. Hopefully we can get some of this stuff sorted out soon and then start driving the car again to see if the 410s were a good idea. Anyways, hope you're staying healthy. Hope you're staying safe. Peace out.